Let's talk some more about Stoicism. Well, we're going over the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. We've ended up in book 6. Last time we talked about sections 4, 10 and 11, but I want to go back to section 6, which is only one sentence, and I don't know how much I have to say about this, but I do find it a very interesting one. It's also one of the most quoted ones, I think. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. That's a fascinating one. That's one that I always try to remind myself of, that I don't always succeed in putting into practice. But that is something that I try to keep in mind. Someone, I don't know, reasoning from my perspective, someone leaves you an unpleasant YouTube comment that is clearly directed at upsetting you. It's very easy for people to immediately want to respond, right? I think that's what we do. That's immediate response of wanting to snap back. When you think about it, it's fairly pointless, because that may be exactly what that person is looking for. Or at the very least, you acknowledge that what that person has said or done. You can come up with a myriad of examples, I think, of this kind of stuff, right? So you validate what that person has said or done to you by responding in a likewise manner. How much better is it to ignore that thing, what they said or what they have done, and move on? Because if you keep going back to what you were told, what was said, what was done, you keep mulling it over, then you are kind of giving the person who, I'm just going to say said that thing, unpleasant thing, that whatever upset you, you give them power over you, right? This is what happened to me many times in the past. I would receive an unpleasant YouTube comment and I would think about it for a full day, sometimes even longer than a day. The next day I would still be thinking about it. And what happens then is you keep suffering. Someone has made you suffer for more than a day. And it's very tempting in those kinds of cases to sort of jump in there, strike back. And that's exactly what Marcus Aurelius says you should not do. Because when you think about it, let's say that someone, I'll just use this example again because I think it works well. Someone leaves you an unpleasant comment on YouTube. Or, it could be a co-worker saying something, whatever. They're trying to get a response out of you, right? So, if you deny them that, then isn't their action nullified? Isn't their action rendered useless? Because it had no effect on you. Would it have had an effect, you might want to respond, or you would have responded. But by not doing that, you show that you basically don't care. And I think to some people that is more upsetting than responding in likewise anger, emotion, upsetness, all these kinds of things. A very simple passage, a very simple one-sentence quote, but the advantage of that is that it's something you can really carry with you. It's easy to remember, right? The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. And think about what that means from a Stoic perspective, where your goal is to make progress, to improve, to become a better and better and better version of yourself. If you are attacked by someone, I mean that I think for most of us, hopefully, fortunately, that would be a verbal thing more than a physical thing, right? But if someone attacks you that way, and it doesn't bother you, you can manage to shake that off, be detached from those external circumstances, then what hold does your enemy, I'll just call it enemy, really have over you? Because they say something bad, and that's it. If you find this principle interesting, Professor William Irvine wrote a couple of very good books on Stoic philosophy, and one of his that I liked a lot, it's called A Slap in the Face, and he talks about all kinds of ways to deal with insults, and from a Stoic perspective. So this kind of stuff figures rather heavily in that book, and he gives the examples, of course, Epictetus, right, who said, someone speaks badly of you, right? Someone tells you this or that person spoke badly of you. Then respond, well, it's clear that he doesn't know me very well, because if he would have said way worse about me. Which is a fantastic, sarcastic way of responding to that. And if you can do that, then insults don't really matter to you. They don't really get to you. Now, some people naturally have thicker skins than others. For me, it's a continuous struggle. It really is. This is something I struggle with. It's hard for me. It doesn't come natural to me to just shrug off an insult and go, oh, okay, I don't care. I've gotten much better. Can I say that? Yeah, I think so. I've gotten much better since I've started to study Stoicism. I'm still not there. But that's the point, right? This is a continuous thing you do, a continuous battle you fight. And it becomes easier the more you do it. But this is a beautiful passage, a little section to bear in mind. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. I hope this was useful, some food for thought. Feel free to leave me comments about how you deal with insults, because that's always an interesting thing to read. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you again soon for more talk about Stoicism.